Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alicia. I post new tutorials every Thursday. So this week I'm going to work on a different kind of cup and I'm going to show you. So it's called Oldly. I think that's the brand name of it. I ordered it from Amazon. It's kind of an expensive cup, but it was at the request of somebody who said that they didn't like the taste of stainless steel. They have a very sensitive taste to it, so they want it ceramic. So I found these on Amazon and they're ceramic coated on the inside. Now I've already made a cup for her and she absolutely loves it, and somebody else requested it, so I figured, you know what, let's do a tutorial on it. Let me show you. It's the same, everything's the same with working with the cup. I'm gonna sand this, I'm gonna spray paint this, but I am gonna take more care not to get on anything on the inside, because I don't want to scrape this with my craft knife too much. I don't want to scrape it up. So I am gonna take care in prepping this before I spray paint it and stuff. But so this is this box. Look how jacked up this box came. It didn't even come in a box. It came in a padded envelope, and when I got it, it was all like smushed. So I can't even like give this to the person who ordered this, because like the box is trashed. So it comes with a metal straw, and this is a 20 ounce, and it comes with a straw cleaner, and it also comes with this like little sponge brush. So it's $19.99. I know it's kind of expensive, but you know, if you were looking for something like this, maybe for yourself or for somebody else, in lieu of the stainless steel on the inside for people who are sensitive to it, then this is, you know, a great choice, because it's a really, you know, the shape of the cup is nice. Although I wouldn't go ahead and try to do a wrap on this because it is tapered, and I have not had any success with doing wraps on tapered cups. But for this cup, I decided, because she was very non-specific, she just said, look, make it pretty, make it girly. So I decided I'm going to do a Milky Way on this. And if you're not familiar with a Milky Way, what it is, it's a glitter base, and then you take your epoxy and you color it with either mica powder or paint, and you drizzle it over top of the glitter, and so it kind of floats on top of the glitter, and so it's a real neat effect. It's very pretty, it's very elegant. So if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. Okay, so if you're ready to get started, no, that's not usually what I say. What I say is, if you're interested to see what I came out with, stick around and I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so I am prepping this cup how I prep all my other cups. Make sure you wear a mask, because this is pre-painted, and so you don't want to breathe any of that fume, the dust from the paint. Likewise with any stainless steel. After you give it a good sanding, make sure you clean it off with 91% alcohol. And I actually I wipe it down twice, because there was like a lot of residue. I did a lot of sanding. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to pull that rubber bottom off. I am not going to put that back on, because when I started to tear it off, it left a lot onto the cup. So I'm just going to scrap that. I wound up getting it off with 91% alcohol, and then I had to scrape it with not a razor scraper, but kind of like a blunt scraper. And so I put the 91% alcohol on first to loosen it up, and then I grabbed my scraper that has that orange end and just scraped it off, and then wiped it down again with 91% alcohol to get off all of the residue. Then it was ready to be sanded, and I sanded that spot and then wiped it with I wiped it down with 91% alcohol once again, so that was like 3 wipe downs. Then I took it outside and I spray painted it matte white. I just put it on top of this little cone that I got at the Dollar Tree, so it keeps the spray paint out of the cup, which is really cool. So I let that dry for a few hours, and then I went and off camera I painted it with some acrylic paints, the colors that I was using in glitter. It was late and I just didn't feel like recording, so I think you guys kind of know how to paint on a cup. So now I mixed up 10 mLs of a quick set epoxy, and I am covering the cup. So I'm not doing a super, super thin coat, but I'm not certainly doing a thick coat either because I don't want my glitter to travel once it's on there. But I am doing like a little bit thicker than normal coat. So if I was just using only fine glitter, I would put a much thinner coat. But because I'm using chunkies this time, I did use a little bit of a thicker coat. So now I'm going to just start off with my colors, and I'm going to start off with this purple, and I am just sprinkling it on over top of the acrylic paint in its respective color. And I'm posting above pictures of the color names so that you can see what they are. And of course, I'll always post the color names in the description below. So this blue is Cotton Candy, and this is not an iridescent, like that purple's kind of an iridescent. And then I'm going to come in with this pink Frosty, which is another iridescent. So it's really important to have a similar color underneath, otherwise it's going to take on a completely different color. And then I'm going to take this, I think it's electric. No, it's this white, another iridescent, and it's a white chunky. And I'm going to go in between each color with this and kind of it fills in that spot, and kind of, and like I'm going for like a blend so that there's not such a harsh line between the colors. And then I'm using, each one of these chunkies has a fine version, and I'm just coming in the center of each color and just filling that in with the fine. And I'm even going to do it with the white color that's super iridescent. It has a fine, and I'm really going to give all three a good shake. And I think that one's electric. It's electric, and I forget what the other name is. Sorry, guys. It's posted. You'll see. And I'm not going to do the bottom. Like, I'm not going to do the bottom. I'm just going to focus around the cup. And then when the glitter gets contaminated to the point where I can't pour it into each other's bottle, then I'll like mush it together and put that on the bottom. So here I am using the purple fine and making sure I get it down the center. And then this is not the fine version. So this blue is a fine version of a different color. I don't think that the Cotton Candy has a fine version, so this was fine. Then after I get it all on, I'm going to take my parchment paper, make sure it's parchment paper, and I'm going to press that glitter down. And this is really important because you're using chunky glitter, to press it down so you don't have a lot of glitter poking up. When you have a lot of glitter poking up, you need more coats of epoxy to smooth it out, and you run into the problems if you're sanding. You might sand your glitter. You don't want to do that. So it's better to just press that glitter down. And with having the coat that I have on there, it didn't even really stick. I didn't lose glitter, so I didn't have to like go over top. So it worked out perfectly. And then this is where I just put some of this glitter together and just press it on the bottom. I am going to discard that glitter that I put that I dipped it in. I'm not gonna save that. And then I go in and I give it 2 coats of, after 2 hours, after my epoxy sets, I went in with 2 coats of Krylon triple thick, let that dry for an hour, 2 hours, couple hours, I don't know. And now I'm coming in with 30 mLs of quick set epoxy. So you can, look, when I say using quick set, doesn't mean you have to use quick set. You can use a regular set and wait out the 8 hours before putting on your next coat. I am impatient, so I love my quick set so that I can move along with, with a cup and at least get a couple coats on in one day. So if you use your regular set epoxy, it's going to take a little bit longer. That's the only difference, really. So I'm going to just smooth this out, and when I put this on, I want to make sure that I go up the cup towards the rim and not against the rim, because when you go against the rim, you run the risk of getting epoxy in there, and I don't want to get epoxy in there because it's the ceramic and I can't use a craft knife on it. So you want to make sure that you go with the grain and not against the grain, if that makes any sense. So basically go up towards the top and towards the end, but not backwards. I'm going to use my kitchen torch to pop any bubbles, and I'll be back in 2 hours. All right, so this has 1 coat of epoxy on it. It's got a pretty thick coat. I put about 30 mLs on here. There's some pokey spots that I want to give this a light sanding to before I go in to start with my Milky Way. So I'm not going to do this on camera. I'm going to do it off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll start the Milky Way. Also, another thing I want to mention is I already wiped this down with a paper towel to get all the loose dust off. I change my gloves after I do that. Then I go ahead and with my coffee filter and wipe it down again to make sure I get off any loose lint. Coffee filters do not admit the lint that paper towels do. So also I want to mention that normally I wouldn't sand this after the first coat. Normally I wait for 2 coats, but because this was a thick coat and I was doing a light sanding, I thought it was okay, but it was a thick coat, and just make sure you do a light sanding. So now I'm going to move on to the Milky Way part. So I'm going to be back in a second after I get this mounted and get my resin split up. So now that I've got this cup all wiped down and back on the turner, I am going to put 20 mLs of epoxy, and I'm using a regular set epoxy. I'm not using a quick set epoxy because I do want, when I do the Milky Way, I do want it to move around a little bit, and I do want a little bit of swirl in it. So if you use the quick set epoxy, you're not likely going to get that. So with this again, as I explained before, I am going up the cup and not scraping my finger at the top because I don't want to get any epoxy on the inside of the cup, because again, you can't use your craft knife on it. So I am going to get this on. You see, I'm explaining to you, don't go downwards, go upwards. All right, and so now I'm going to go ahead and let this turn for a second. While this is turning, I change my gloves. I'm putting on a fresh glove, giving it a quick torch for bubbles. Now I'm going to go in and mix my mica powder. So I'm going to use the purple mica, and I'm going to use the pearl mica, which is just pearl with no added color or whatever. And I'm going to mix those in about 10 mLs each of epoxy. So I mixed 20 total. I mixed 20 mLs of epoxy. 20 went on the cup and 10 in each cup. I did 2 scoops of each, which I probably, now it was a little bit too thick, and I would have done, so I'm using the end of this as a scooper. Really a scoop and a half would have been better. I wanted it to be just a little bit more, I wanted it to be a little bit thinner, but it worked out. It because once I put my heat gun on it, it thinned it out nicely. So I mixed up the white one, and now I am mixing up the purple. The purples match perfectly. So I'm going to put the purple mica powder on the pink and the blue section, and then I'm going to use the white mica powder on the purple section. And I am going to use my popsicle stick to apply it. I'm just going to apply lines and just get that on there initially. And then once I get enough on there, I am gonna kind of smear it with my finger and just spread it out a bit. So I put the purple in first. Now I'm gonna go in with the white, and I'm gonna do the same technique. I am just gonna use my popsicle stick. You can run it on the cup because there's 20 mLs of epoxy on there, so it's all gonna blend together. It's not gonna be a big deal if you touch the cup. So you can do that, or you can hold it over and just drizzle it down. It's up to you however you want to do it. You decide what technique you like. So I'm going to use my index finger, and I'm going to smear the white, and then I'm going to use my middle finger, and I'm going to smear that purple, and just kind of, I don't know, almost give it a marbling effect a little bit. And then even swirl it, like do wavy lines or whatever. And then, you can go in and do some more lines. It's up to you how much, how little or how much you want on there. There's no rhyme or reason. You decide when enough is enough. So I take my fingers and I just continue to go up. The epoxy tends to kind of pull away from the top of the cup, so you might need to push that up a little bit. So I'm changing out my glove, and now this is where I'm bringing my heat gun, and I'm going to warm all this epoxy up along with the mica powders floating on top, and I'm going to kind of just spread it, and it's going to start to swirl. And there's really nothing more to narrate, so I'm just going to just put on some iMovie music and let you watch the process. So I just want to mention that this is the last coat of epoxy that is actually needed. If you're going to put a decal on over it, then you would put another coat of epoxy. But other than that, this would be done. All right, this cup is done, and I'm super happy with the way it came out. I love these mica powders. They're so shimmery and pretty. The glitter is absolutely gorgeous. So that is how you do a Milky Way. You just put some gorgeous glitter underneath and some micas like it's floating over top, and you can do whatever color combination you want with the glitters and with the mica powders. It's totally up to you. Sky's the limit. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure you give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment. I love to hear your feedback. Make sure you join my Facebook group. It's a craft thing, so you can see other things that I'm doing that I don't post tutorials on. Also, GMI's Superstars. Make sure you check them out. And check out my color blast that I just posted on Sunday. Bunch of new colors for April. I know it's May, but a bunch of new colors for April, including new mica powders. And you get my discount code, and that is it. So I will see you all next time. Bye.